Hey everybody, this is my first video blog, and clearly I wasn't sure even what to say there. So I am Laura Burns, and on Instagram I go by Radical Body Love, and I recently decided that I was going to try and start doing video blogs because well, for a couple reasons. One is it's a good exercise for me because getting used to seeing myself on video has been a journey all on its own, aside from seeing myself in pictures and just learning to love myself and embrace who I am and what I sound like. But seeing it on video is like a whole other story. So it's always good for me to practice seeing myself on video and loving what I look like and what I sound like. So that's one reason why I'm doing it. And the other reason is because I get a lot of direct messages on Instagram from people with questions about body positivity, or questions about me, or things that I'm interested in, or my opinion about X, Y, and Z. And I thought maybe other people have those same questions, and maybe I could answer them all at one time in a place where people could see it, and it wasn't just like one-to-one personal messaging. So, also, I sound like a valley girl, which is always really funny for me to hear myself because I forget, and then I see videos and I'm like, oh my god. So if that's annoying, you should probably stop watching because that's not going to go away. I just shook this thing. I recently posted on Instagram saying that I was going to do this and asking people to send in their questions that they had for me. And so I have a list on my phone, and I'm going to pull it up and see. There's a lot of these. This is like way too many for one video, but I'm going to pick some and then I'll do more videos. And then people, if you have other questions, you can comment below, or if you follow me on Instagram at Radical Body Love, you can comment on any of my pictures, or find the one where I said send me your questions, or you can direct message me if you want to do that instead. So I have I don't know, can you even see this? Oh, it's backwards. It doesn't matter because it's backwards. You guys, I am the worst video blogger ever. Also, I'm really lazy, so I probably won't edit this, so you just have to watch it. Okay, this is part of my charm, you guys. So I'm gonna start with, I had a lot of people ask me about my journey to body positivity, and so I think that's a really good one for this first video, so let's do that. I am 32 years old, and I'm from Houston. I grew up here. The only time I've ever lived away from Houston was from 2004 to 2009. I lived in Baltimore, Maryland. Hey! Shout out to Baltimore. And most of my life I hated myself. Most of my life I was really depressed. So as a kid I was fat. So I've always been the fat kid. I'm not sure when exactly I got fat because I don't know. There's a picture of me when I was little and I was skinny, and I'm like, what? That's crazy. But I think probably after second grade I was like the fat kid, so the majority of my life, and people were not always very nice to me, as you might imagine. I got bullied, and then I kind of became a bully because I was really insecure, and it was hard for me to process all the feelings that I had about myself, and I don't know, I was really mean sometimes to people, and I still see that part of myself come out every once in a while, and I go, oh, what are you doing? And so, you know, now, not very often, but every once in a while in a situation that is complicated or frustrating with people that I don't know 100%, it can be really hard for me to feel comfortable and to know that people are on my side, even if they're not, you know, happy with me or the situation. But when I was younger, I would be really mean, and I cultivated that image because I thought being tough would be, you know, a way to keep people from picking on me. And so, you know, I was mean to people that I wished I hadn't been mean to, and I don't know, I was guarding my heart, but I still got hurt. and I still had people being mean to me because of how I looked and how much I weighed. And it never stopped. I was in dance for a long time, which is a very body conscious hobby. And it wasn't good for me because you just compare your body to other people's bodies. And I love to dance. I really loved it. I still enjoy dancing, but I don't do ballet anymore. I don't do modern dance or any of that. But I still love to dance, and I love to move my body in ways. And I'll talk more about that later. But basically, I have a pretty generic story for a fat girl growing up in the United States. And so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. But yeah, it wasn't super amazing. And from an early age, I definitely have struggled with depression. And still currently struggle with depression. Mental illness is something that has been a part of my life, my entire life. In junior high, which is the worst 3 years of my life, which I think is a common thread for people, it really intensified. It was not great. I got comments even from teachers. And looking back, I was bigger than middle school kids, but I wasn't even that big. And then in high school, I definitely was like the fat girl. And there was unrequited love, and there was not feeling like I fit in. And I was lucky enough, I went to 3 high schools, and the third one I went to, where I spent the most time out of high school, was full of, like, weirdos. So it was actually a really great school for me to go to, because everybody was a little strange. And I think people were a little less judgmental there, because so many people were odd. So, in high school, I didn't feel a part of everyone else. I did. I had lots of friends, and I went to parties, and I had parties, and we hung out, and it was fun. But I never felt like, in my core, I never felt like I was equal to everyone else, or that I was really part of the group. I was like, even though I've had this conversation with other people, and they say differently, I never felt like I was truly a part of the group. In college, things got a lot better. I found a group of people, mostly women, who were feminists like me, who were a little nerdy like me, who were weird like me, and who weren't so judgmental about what you look like and how big your body is. And so that was like an amazing, amazing time for me. And that's why, I always tell people that are younger than myself, like, hang in there. That whole "it gets better" campaign. Dude, for real, it gets better, and things are not always going to be how they are. Once you get clear of high school, you so much easier can create the life that you want, and you can find the friends that really appeal to you, and people who get you and are open to loving you exactly the way that you are. So college was really great, but still in college, despite it being much better than high school, I suffered from depression and my eating disorder, which started when I was a child. So I'm a binge eater, and my whole life did it. And in college, kind of a bad thing is now I have all this freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, because I moved out, and still in Houston, I moved out of my parents' house and lived both by myself and then also with other people. And you can go and get any food that you want at any time of day because, you're an adult. Although, 18 years old, I made a lot of poor decisions, but it was a lot easier for me to do things that were not good for me and that didn't make me feel good. And so, and even from, that age, I made decisions that were not the best for me, both in what I ate and who I sometimes slept with and how I met them and the way that I engaged with other people. And that sounds like I was just living in this awful, depressed world, but, most people had no idea that I was even dealing with issues like this. And so when I was around other people, I could be very happy and, everything is amazing and there are no problems and, blah, 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 rainbows and unicorns. But then when I am alone, it's like, depression and anxiety and poor decision making and binge eating. So that was college. And I just didn't love myself. I didn't love my body. I just wanted to be thin. I thought, God, if I could just be thin, someone would love me, and I would love myself, and I could wear good clothes, and people would think I was cool, and, I wouldn't have this eating disorder, and I would just feel good about myself, and blah, whatever. And, people have this idea that, like, if you're thin, your whole life will be magically better, which is not true, by the way. And I moved to Baltimore in 2004. I dropped out of school and moved with friends to Baltimore. We didn't have jobs, and we found a place to live off of Craigslist, and we had never even seen it. So it was really an adventure. And, moving to Baltimore was both the best thing I ever did and also the worst time of my life. During the 4 years that I was there, I had some of the greatest times and made really good friends and got an awesome job and started working in the nonprofit sector and did really well there, and had adventures and did crazy things and fell in love and then got my heart broken. But I also spent a lot of time being depressed, and especially towards the end of it, feeling really alone, and just feeling kind of broken and really not loving myself. I decided that if I lost weight, that I would be happier. And so I started running and restricting the food that I ate. And a lot of people don't know that I did that. But I lost a bunch of weight, and I was really, really unhappy. But all I got in return, coming towards me, was you look amazing, what are you doing, you've lost weight, you look so beautiful, just all this positive stuff coming towards me. And all I felt inside was just black sadness and hate, just inside of me. And I would sit at home. I had quit smoking when I lived in Baltimore, or when I lived in Houston, and then at this point in Baltimore, this is 2008, I would sit in the window with the window open on the the 5th floor of this walk up and smoke dramatic cigarettes and just hate myself and listen to French music. It's so fun. I mean, it's hilarious now, but it was really awful. And that was actually one of the lowest points in my life. And towards the end of that, I actually was feeling suicidal, and I think was really close to, I don't know, taking action of some sort. I remember I was laying in bed one night, and I was just overwhelmed with sadness, and I was crying, and I was just laying there, and I was going through, who could I call right now? And I was going through my phone list, who could I talk to? And I just, each name that I looked at, I was oh, I can't talk to them. I can't talk to them. Every single person in my phone, I was I can't talk to this person. Even though, truly, in real life, so many of those people would have answered the phone and been so happy to talk to me or to come over. But when you're in that state, you don't think that. You don't feel that that's true. And I called a suicide hotline because I didn't know who to talk to. But when they answered, I couldn't speak. And I was quiet, and the woman on the phone tried a couple times to say, are you there? Can you talk? And I physically couldn't speak. I was scared to talk to her, but I was scared to hang up. I didn't know what to do. And I remember she said, call back when you're ready to talk. And then she hung up. And I was so sad that she said that. And I was oh God, I was about to talk. But, who knows if I really would have, but I understand, they have a lot of calls, and she can't waste her time, sitting in silence with me when there are people who actually would talk to her. But I just remember thinking, God, I can't even call the suicide hotline correctly. What is wrong with me? Obviously, I didn't do anything. And, I mean, despite self-harm over the years. But, I pulled through, and regardless of my questionable decisions I made in coming back to Houston, I came back to Houston, and I think that was the best thing that I could have done, because, here I had family and friends and just more support, and a feeling of, even if I don't 100% feel comfortable sharing all the things that I'm feeling with these people, I know that I can go see these people, and they're going to love me, and I can just be. So even if I don't feel like I can go home and tell my parents, hey, I wanted to kill myself a couple months ago, which I never said to them. So that's weird. But I knew that I could go home and just be like, I love you, and I need to be here and be around you people right now. So I moved back to Houston, and I moved back to Houston and lived with the man that I was dating and who I'm no longer with. And I was with him for almost 2 years, no, maybe 1.5 years, back in Houston, and we broke up. And then I lived by myself. And so that, to me, that time when I was living by myself after that relationship, before I met the man that is now my husband, that time was, I think, the most important time for my body positivity journey. And I know that that was a lot of backstory to get to this point, but it's really, I think that information is really helpful, and this is really kind of where the story starts. And so while I had done body positivity work before, it wasn't until that point that I really started to love myself. And I know that this video is really long, and if you're still watching, bless your heart. I will try to edit it to make it shorter, but listen, I am a long-winded person, and so all of my stories are really long. So I was living by myself and having to learn how to be single again and how to spend time with myself, and I was like, oh, I'm not fun. And so I started doing things that I wanted to do, which sounds very simple, but I hadn't really been doing that. And so I started just like, me and my dog would go hiking, or, you know, I would go out with friends, and it was fun, and I didn't, you know, worry about, do I look pretty enough that someone is going to talk to me or whatever. And I just really spent time talking to myself, you know, like just saying, you know, maybe you don't like this about your body, but you really like this about your body. And I would say, you know, legs, thank you so much. And it sounds cheesy to some people, but just saying, you know, nice things to my body, and being grateful for what I could do, acknowledging what I didn't like, and acknowledging what I did like was really helpful for me. And I started taking pictures of myself, which I didn't really do a lot of before. You know, I used to hide from the camera. But I started taking outfit pictures and posting them to the Fashionista feed on Flickr. Shout out to that feed. That was really, really important for me. And just taking those pictures and looking at my body just normalized my body to myself, and made it not this like scary thing to see in a picture, but made it just a body. Because, you know, that's all, these are just bodies. It's skin and fat and organs and muscle and bones, and it's just a body. You know, like, oh, this body is bigger than that one. Okay. You know, if you take care of the things that your body needs to feel good, and your definition of health is being fulfilled, then at the end of the day, it's just a body. It's when we deny what our body really wants, and we ignore those things that it needs, and we're not paying attention to what our body needs to be healthy for us. You know, we all have a different definition of health, and so when you ignore what your body wants and needs, that's when it's a problem. And so I just started feeding my body what it wanted, and sometimes it was junk food, and sometimes it was healthy food, and sometimes my body wanted to hike, or hula hoop, or dance, or do Nia, or do yoga, and sometimes I wanted to lay on the couch, and sometimes it wanted to drink a lot of beer, and that's okay. And, you know, just being kind to myself, and that really, really changed how I thought about who I was, and what I was worth, and my value to the world, and that was really amazing for me. So, and then during that time, I was kind of dating a little bit, and I met my husband, and life changed a lot, and we fell in love very quickly and got engaged, and that's a whole other really long story. But so basically, that's my journey to body positivity in a nutshell. Along the way, I did a lot of things that were positive for myself, that I might talk about in later videos, but I don't want to keep this one going for too much longer. And I started a nonprofit that's about body positivity, and that's very recent, and that's really important to me. And I met amazing people, and really have, I feel like, blossomed into a person that I can respect and that I think is valuable and worthy of love and respect from other people, and also from myself. And I see where I have failed in things, and I see where I've succeeded in things, and that's just motivation to do better in the future. So I'm going to end this video because it's really long, but I will make some more about other topics, and so if you watched this far, thank you. I hope that maybe now you know a little bit about who I am and what I've done, and if you want to know more about any specific part of it, let me know. And I'll do another video. I don't really care. I don't know, how many people will want to watch these, but we'll see how it goes. So this was my first one, and thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.